And this morning we continue to celebrate the Rockford Symphony Orchestra's 90th anniversary. Our Dylan Valencia takes us through its long journey and sits down with the people who've conducted its magic along the way.
That's right, Manny. What started as a community orchestra in 1934 has quickly grown into a professional symphony that attracts musicians from across the region. I got to sit down with the RSO's former music director of 30 years and their current music director, learning where we started, where we are, and where we are headed. Take a look.
To be able to sustain this kind of orchestra for so long, and again, keep it growing for the size of Rockford is remarkable.
Born during the centennial celebration of the City of Rockford, the RSO is turning 90 years old.
Well, of course it has. It'll reach 100 too. I have no doubt about it.
Its humble days started as a community orchestra.
This orchestra was created in the middle, at the bottom of the Great Depression.
Beginning as a 40-person string orchestra, the RSO grew almost as quickly as our community did, from performing at small school venues to performing at the Midway Theater, becoming professional in the 1980s.
The music will be different every time. It's live art occurring at the moment that you hear it. And that's always been thrilling to me.
Since its inception, the RSO has had 5 music directors in its history. And that's where we meet Steve Larson, who joined in 1991.
When I first came here, there were people in the community and even people on the board that thought that the orchestra should probably fold because this community couldn't sustain an orchestra. And I just looked at the numbers, looked at the community, I said, no.
Some were doubtful, but Steve was on a mission to grow the RSO to where it stands now. A perfect representation of the growth of our community in Rockford.
The conditions are absolutely perfect for an orchestra to grow in this community. You just have to start doing a few things right.
And the first thing was advocate for musician pay.
The first thing I did is iron out the pay scale in the orchestra. People were getting paid at the whim of the music director.
In order to sustain the symphony, he made a plan to cut down on the number of musicians.
The orchestra was doing concerts with huge orchestras, 100 players, and I cut that down to about maximum of 80, and some concerts using 40.
And that orchestra continued to expand under Steve's direction to where the RSO moved to its current home at the Coronado Theater.
From the time the orchestra first got on the stage and started to play, the quality, the orchestra quality increased like 200% in the span of a couple of weeks.
After more than 10 years of fundraising and planning for the restoration of the Coronado, it reopened to the public in 2001. With an $18.5 million restoration, the RSO sold over 15,000 tickets their first night at the Coronado.
More than anything else, I think it says a lot about the community in Rockford, because to sustain an orchestra for 90 years, and not just sustain it, but keep it growing, is a tremendous task.
Making it known that Rockford was a good place to come and play it.
And this is where Yaniv Attar comes in, the 5th music director after Steve held the title for 3 decades.
He has way longer history in the orchestra than I have.
The search for Yaniv was far and wide.
When we were looking for our new music director, we had more than 200 applicants from across the world.
After many finalists and a 2-year search, Yaniv was chosen. Steve, still ready to lend a helping hand.
But he still cared deeply about it, and he wanted to offer support to whoever takes the position, and it felt really encouraging. As you can see, even this morning I came to him with some conducting advice. So how did you do this? How did you do that?
In his first season, Yaniv is already making an impact.
A relationship with an orchestra is really like, it's almost like marriage, and all of a sudden a new marriage comes, and it takes time for the orchestra to get used to somebody else's way.
Aiming to expand access to younger audience members and bring in the orchestra even outside the 4 walls of the Coronado.
I want us to continue to do diverse repertoire and attract more audience, because I feel like everybody in Rockford should be able to enjoy their local band.
And Yaniv currently wants to bring more soloists, different new series, and have concerts in venues even outside of the Coronado. Plus, attract a younger audience, which brings us to our RSO diversity piece that will air next week. Back to you.
Thank you, Dylan. Be sure to catch the season finale and 90th anniversary party tomorrow evening. Head over to our website at WREX.com to learn more.